Memorial Day, Lincoln, Massachusetts.
I think I want something.
Newly revised war memorial book will be returned to the Lincoln Public Library. It will be put on display for all to enjoy. Please come see the book. Among the more than 500 names of Lincoln residents, beginning with the American Revolution, who served their country during times of war, it now includes 138 names of residents living in Lincoln at the time of their Vietnam service. We're honored to have some of these veterans with us today. After the ceremony, the book will be, I think, over there where the poster is, and we are happy to show everyone the book. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Agnes. Our invocation will be offered by Reverend Roger Payne, esteemed Senior Minister of First Parish right across the street there. Reverend Payne.
To help us begin, I want to read just a few lines from Stephen Spender's poem, The Truly Great. Lines which we used yesterday, in fact, to begin our Sunday service right across the street at the First Parish. I think continually of those who were truly great, near the snow, near the sun, in the highest fields. See how their names are feted by the waving grass, and by the streamers of white cloud, and whispers of wind in the listening sky. The names of those who in their lives fought for life. Born of the sun, they traveled a short while towards the sun, and left the vivid air signed with their honor. Now please join me in whatever way is most comfortable for you in a prayer for this day. May God, who is invisible and yet round about us all and within us each, join us in this hour as we bring all of our attention to honor the men and women who have served our country in uniform over the years, those who are here with us today, the memory of those we hold in our hearts, and all those who gave their lives on land and sea and in the air, who in the poet's words traveled a short while towards the sun and left the vivid air signed with their honor. Grant us the grace to bring a full heart to this day of remembrance, and may we rededicate ourselves to the unfinished work still before us as a nation, to help ensure that our highest values and beliefs will be the ones that shape our country. Finally, may we as a people pray that the peace won for us by so many in so many places will long endure. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Payne. Reverend Payne comes from a military family where his dad and his grandpa were both Admiral, Submarine Corps, United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, proper etiquette calls for all who are able to rise and face the flag during the national anthem. Ladies may leave their hands at the side or place the right hand over the heart, as should the gentlemen. Gentlemen with headdress should remove their cover and hold it over their heart with their right hand. All veterans, even out of uniform, are authorized to render the hand salute, which is required of military members. Our national anthem today will be performed by the National Detachment of the a cappella group Out with the Cat. The singers are brothers Liam and Brendan Spaeth, Miss Callan Dwyer, and Ms. Brittany Balte. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at
The wreath, a circular arrangement of leafy plants, dates back to Roman times as a symbol of honor. Today, we place a wreath at the memorial stone to honor Lincoln's sons and daughters who fell in battle. The wreath will be placed by Mr. Walter Van Wart, accompanied by members of Lincoln's Girl and Boy Scouts. Nearly 200 years old, the hymn Amazing Grace is performed some 10 million times per year in America. It will be played by Ms. Stephanie Chin, who is a junior at Lincoln Sudbury High School. Scouts, Mr. Van Wart, Ms. Chin. In 1818, the U.S. Navy established proper gun honors to be rendered on special occasions. There were 21 states in the Union, so the standard of a 21-gun salute was born and persists to this day. But the number of guns is subject to availability. Today, as you see, there will be 3 guns, rendering 3 rounds each. The bugle call taps was created by the American General Daniel Butterfield in 1862. It's played at the end of the day on all of our military bases, including our base, Hanscom. Ms. Chin will play the lead, and I will play the echo, which can be interpreted as the response of the dead. During the past year, we lost 2 noble citizens of Lincoln who served the nation in arms. Dr. Charles Chuck Keeble, pharmacist and mate, first class, United States Navy, who was still practicing cardiology here in town until his passing. And Staff Sergeant Clifford Red Bradley, Bronze Star recipient from the United States Army, awarded for running across an active minefield to save other soldiers who were about to enter it, who just passed this past week at age 96. Let's offer a round of applause in celebration of the lives of these departed heroes. Citizens of Lincoln, we have a rich tradition of national service in our town with military veterans from all 5 services. We now wish to recognize these intrepid men and women among us who have served in the military forces of our nation. Veterans, please approach the podium and introduce yourself by name, branch of service, and any salient units you served with or battles you fought. Lincoln veterans, front and center. You're directed to approach the mic within 6 inches and speak out. Any vets who wish to speak from their seats, we'll bring a mic to you.
I ended up in the front row, so that's why I'm here. My name is Robbie Cunningham. I live on Woodcock Lane. I came to this town in 1958, and I hope to be here another 58 years, but I think it's unlikely. I was drafted and served in the Army and went overseas for 2 years, serving first in Hawaii, which was not quite the vacation spot then as it has turned into now. But then we sailed on a Liberty ship down to Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands in the South Pacific. That was kind of hairy because we had no escort or anything, and every once in a while they'd get us all up on deck in case a Japanese submarine had spotted us. So, but when we got there, it was we had captured Kwajalein, but and the battle was over for it, but it wasn't. They had captured it not long ago, so one of the memories I have is that we had no ice for about a month after we got there, which seemed like a big hardship because it was so hot. And of course, it was a mess because it was all blown up. But anyway, I stayed there for a year and then was shipped back to Hawaii, where I think my most interesting job there was that I served on with the people who processed the Nisi from California, the Japanese Americans who had fought so bravely in Italy. And I was just amazed at how humble they were and they had suffered such horrible losses trying to run up those hills in Italy. And so that's about all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Fred Richardson. I've lived in Lincoln since 1958 and enjoyed every minute of it. I am, at one point, a member of the U.S. Armed Forces as a tank driver, Hell on Wheels Division, 2nd Armored Division. I was very lucky because I was drafted in late 1944, and by the time I finished my basic training in Fort Knox, the war was virtually over. Thank heaven I never got into any real struggles. I spent a couple of months in the Philippines, waiting to replace some of the guys who had been in the thick of it, but nothing really happened. And so at that point, the war was over. J-Day in Europe, and Nagasaki had just occurred on my 19th birthday. And that was all over. I was very fortunate and came home in peace and finally got promoted. So I was a major promotion to private first class. Wow. Thank you. Wow.
My name's Adam Hogue. I bought a house actually last year with my lovely wife, Katie, on Todd Pond Road, actually across the street from Tom Risser. I served 4 years active duty at Fort Bragg in the Airborne and served a year-long tour in Afghanistan, and currently in the Massachusetts Army National Guard as a company commander, and loving living here in Lincoln. I was actually the speaker last year, so.
Mike Tennant, lived here since 1977. I'm a veteran of both World War II and Korea. World War II for 5 hours, and then the Japanese quit. For Korea, 2 full years. But no combat. I wasn't one of those that we honor here.
We do honor you.
Thank you.
I'd like to mention a few people from my past. One who fought and was wounded in Korea. His name was Charlie Marchetti. He died of leukemia many years later. One of the best engineers I ever worked with. Another was Sammy Fox. I was walking with him in front of a small park in Newport, Rhode Island. A bus backfired right next to us. It was tremendously loud. I looked toward the bus and then I looked back for Sammy. He wasn't there. He was under a bench with his hands over his head. Took him a while to get back on his feet. And finally, I'd like to mention Henry Slater, who is no longer with us, a good friend who served in the military. Thank you.
Jim Hogan, live in North Lincoln since 1983. I served in the United States Air Force, starting as Airman Basic and retiring as a captain 20 years later. I presently serve as the Veterans Programming Officer for Lincoln. I saw recently a bumper sticker which symbolizes this day. If you can read this, thank a teacher. If you're reading it in English instead of Japanese, German, or Russian, thank a veteran.
Good morning. I'm Wynn Bayless. I've been a resident of Lincoln for 5 years. My experience in the Air Force and the Army was with the 41st Anti-Aircraft Battalion, and we successfully defended New York from the Russian bombers.
I am Webster Brockelman. I've been a resident of Lincoln since 1995. I volunteered for duty in the United States Marine Corps after graduating from college in 1952, and after being commissioned, I served in Korea with the 1st Marine Division as a platoon commander and ultimately as a company commander. I am very honored to see all of you out there today to honor those of my group that didn't make it back. I wish we had finished the job.
Hoorah!
I'm Herbert Hessler. I've lived in Lincoln for many years. In 1940, let's see, 1944 to 1946, I was a Marine in the South Pacific, and I survived that.
Hi, my name's Joe Sanasuaso. This is my son Dante. We moved here. Boy, thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to step on your line. We moved here 6 months ago. I was in the Marine Corps in the 1980s. I volunteered, and the first thing I learned when I volunteered was don't volunteer. And it was a wonderful experience. And thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Leach, and I was in the U.S. Coast Guard and called up to active duty during the first Gulf War in 1991. I'm also the town's Veteran Service Officer, and in that role, I'd like to say that I'm not sure how many people who are here know that the people who put on this wonderful celebration also are responsible for putting flags and flowers on the graves of all the Lincoln veterans. And through my years of being the VSO, I've seen how much that means to the veterans' families. So I wanted to acknowledge the people who are responsible for that. Lynn Spaeth, Richie Campabasso, veterans, the Department of Public Works, and the Boy Scouts. So you're very appreciated. Thank you.
Good morning. Kipton Cumler, Lieutenant, United States Navy, 19...
Back in the day.
Yeah, 1966 through, or 63 through 67, sorry. I volunteered for Naval Operations Support Group Pacific and became part of the Brownwater Navy and spent my time in Catlow, Muckwa, and the Plain of Reeds. Thank you.
Fred Siri, Codman Road. I've been here 5 years. I started, I'd say, my career at 17 years old, joined the maritime service. Made trips to England, France, and Italy. After that, I decided I better be drafted and get in the Army. I was thinking about the GI benefits. So I did. I joined the Army. As a matter of fact, I had a regular Army commission as lieutenant. Went over to career 52, 53. Saw a couple battles, nothing major. However, I can't forget Kumwa and Chowan, I guarantee you. But I'm also retired from the military, having done 28 years, combination active duty and reserve and National Guard. Thank you.
Jack Smith, I was a Master Sergeant in the Army Combat Engineers, and I was in Korea 51 to 52. Thank you very much. I'm Royce Taylor. I was been in Lincoln since 1958 with my wife, lovely lady. United States Navy, World War II, and I'm one of half a dozen or so electronic technicians mates here in Lincoln, and our leader is Avram Kaliski. Thank you.
My name is Richard Camabasso. I'm a lifelong resident of town. I was in the U.S. Army from 66 to 69, 16 months in career. I'd like to ask everybody to say a little prayer for my Uncle Red, who died last Wednesday.
Charlie Stackett. I've lived in Lincoln since '61. So I was in the U.S. Navy Air. I served on the USS Randolph, CVA 15, and the USS Franklin Roosevelt, CVA 42. Thank you.
Walter Van Wart,
U.S. Army, 67 to 70, Korea. And I'd like to just add one more thing for the representative of the veterans. If we don't get some help from you folks that are veterans and would like to sign up, we need your 25 bucks, that's one thing. But we also need your names so we can so we do not lose our post. And we need a total of 15, and we've now got 13. So any help that you can do, just see this gentleman down here in a white shirt and red suspenders, and he can help you get there. Thank you.
Captain Tom Risser, Fallujah, Iraq, 2006 to 2007. Yeah. Are there any vets who would like a mic brought to them in the audience? There's in the back, please, in the back. Oh, this is it. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's one.
Lived in Lincoln since 1968. I'm Jim Spindler. Served in the Marine, with the Marine Vietnam of the 3rd Marine Division during 1966. And then at Camp Pendleton, California, at Marine Corps Base, 5th Marine Division. Thank you.
I was watching Cal Staples. I was an officer in the Navy. In the service for 7 years, back in 1943. After college, I served in the Navy for 7 years. I saw all kinds of bad things and a lot of good things. I don't know what more I could say. I'm now getting pretty old.
My husband is now 93, and he fought in the Battle of Okinawa. And we moved here to Lincoln in 1970. And we raised a lovely family here. Thank you.
Did we miss anyone? Here, go.
Ron Polisky. I was in the U.S. Navy. I'm also a electronic technician and another one of the 6 that are left. We lost John Caswell several years ago and Al Seville a couple of years ago.
I understand we have a guest here today who's visiting his brother, Lincoln resident. Captain Ruben Arredondo of the United States Army has served in Iraq, Afghanistan, is currently deployed to Saudi Arabia and is here on leave. Captain. Mumford & Sons wrote a song about loss and mourning in 2009. The word Timshel is the Hebrew word for thou mayest and was mentioned in John Steinbeck's novel East of Eden. As a Navy vet, the opening dealing with cold water reminds me of so many of our Navy sailors and merchant mariners lost in the Battle of the Atlantic. See if you can determine the meaning of the line regarding loss of vision. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome again, out with the cat, Lincoln Detachment.
No, let's try that again.
Oh.
The girl.
I don't have their names. Please come up. Oh, there's even better. Yes, please say.
I'm Maggie Dwyer.
I'm Marissa Spaeth.
Georgia Beltay. I'm Allie Dwyer.
Cold is the water. It freezes your already cold night. Already cold, cold night. Death is at your doorstep, and it will steal your innocence. It will not steal your substance. You are not alone in this. You are not alone in this. As brothers we will stand and we'll hold your hand. Hold your hand. You are the mother of your baby child, the one to whom you gave life. You have your choices, and these are what make man great. His ladder to the stars. You are not alone in this. You are not alone in this. As brothers we will stand and we'll hold your hand. Hold your hand. I will tell the night. Whisper, lose your sight. That I can't move the mountains for you.
Thank you, ladies. We're extremely fortunate today to feature as our speaker an accomplished American military officer who, in fact, is one of us, residing with spouse Ginny Wells just up the hill from here since 1986. A chip off the old block, their daughter Nori just graduated from Harvard College. By remarkable coincidence, I have known Captain Dwight Gertz, United States Navy, since I joined Navy Patrol Squadron 9, deployed at the Naval Air Facility Kadena, Okinawa in 1976. I was the squadron flight surgeon, and Captain Gertz was the intel officer. Even then, his briefs were attended standing room only because of his insight and wit. Captain Gertz earned his undergraduate degree at Yale University and subsequently an MBA from the Harvard Business School. He served in the Navy and Navy Reserve for 25 years, ultimately serving as Area Commander for Naval Intelligence for the 6 New England states. Meanwhile, he worked his way through the corporate world as a management consultant, was a partner at Bain & Company, and CEO of Symmetrex, Inc. in Lexington. Captain Gertz wrote a book on business development that was translated into 7 languages and reviewed on the cover of the Wall Street Journal. He has served our town in multiple capacities, including chair of our Land Conservation Trust, director of the Rural Land Foundation, president of the Lincoln School Foundation, and chair of the First Parish Governing Committee. For the past 6 years, he served as senior lecturer in management at Babson College. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an extraordinarily accomplished American patriot, town father, and one of our own, Captain Dwight Gertz, United States Navy.
Well, I want to thank Tom for that over-the-top introduction. I'm not sure we actually need a speech of any kind today. The comments made by those veterans, I think, dwarf anything that I can possibly contribute. But I have been asked to try to give us a couple of thoughts that we can share together as a town on Memorial Day. Since the night in April 1775, when word came from the other side of that hill that our liberties were threatened, this town has sent its share in harm's way. As Rick Wiggin discovered researching archives for his excellent book, Embattled Farmers, at least 255 men and boys from Lincoln fought in the American Revolution, which is remarkable when you think the population of the town was 700 or 800 people at the time. 9 of them died in service. The memorial book, which is on display today, tracks Lincoln's record of service into the 20th century. So what are we in 2014 supposed to think about this? I have just 2 suggestions for us to consider this morning. The first clue comes from the name we've given to this holiday. As was pointed out earlier, it was once called Decoration Day, but eventually the name changed to Memorial Day. Did you know that Congress didn't make this change official until 1967? Memorial, the word itself, is our first clue. On Memorial Day, we are tasked to remember. We must remember. We can't afford to forget the price that has been paid for us. Let me go farther and suggest that we won't understand if we remember statistics. I work with numbers for a living, and I can't picture what it means that 43 million Americans have served in our wars since 1775. I don't know what to make of the fact that 1,321,000 Americans died in service during wartime. But I do know what it means to lose a friend. When I mentioned this to Tom Risser, we both thought immediately of the same friend, a man named Jerry Grigsby. Tom and I served together in the same squadron 30 years ago. Jerry was the operations officer, which made him my boss, and one of our most experienced pilots. With an engine on fire and the flames nearing a fuel tank, Jerry managed to set his plane down in the icy waters of the Bering Sea. It was stormy. He hit the top of a big wave just softly enough so that the plane didn't break up. His skill on the controls bought time, 90 seconds according to the best estimate of the investigators, for his crew. As waves broke over the wreckage and seawater flooded the cabin, 2 life rafts were launched and 13 men escaped. Jerry was the last out, crouching on the top of the sinking fuselage to count heads. He didn't make it to one of the rafts. For me, Memorial Day is real because I remember Jerry, and I think of the price he paid, leaving a wife and family behind and never finishing the Navy career that he loved. Some of you have a personal connection like that. You have a name you remember today, a relative, a friend, a classmate. If you don't have any personal connection, create one. I learned this technique from Concord resident Scott Snook, now at the Harvard Business School, and formerly head of the Department of Leadership at West Point. He didn't want his cadets to think of leadership as another academic subject. To solve that problem, he would send each student out to a different plot in the post cemetery to discover a graduate of the academy who had either died in combat or had lived a full life and requested burial among comrades back at the point. Starting with only a name, rank, and dates of birth and death, the student was assigned to find out everything he could about the officer who was buried there. Cadets completed a picture of character, leadership, success, failure, sacrifice, and reward that made it all real. After that, Scott tells me, they concentrated fiercely on their leadership classes. You could try that here. It could be someone from Lincoln. Martha de Normandy first called my attention to a plaque in the stone church. It lists what it calls, in kind of an odd language, 3 members of the Sunday school who died in World War II. Martha called them by their boyhood nicknames, Ned Seeger, Jack Fradd, and Whitey Jackson. She knew them because all 3 had helped with the chores on the de Normandy dairy farm. They were 18 or 19 years old when they died. I found Lucius Erskine Whiten Jackson in the 1940 U.S. Census, living with his family on Weston Road. He was born in 1926 and was 18 years old when he died on December 25th, 1944. He's buried in Plot C, Row 6, Grave 34 of the American Military Cemetery in Colville-sur-Mer, France. What did he give up? I'm not sure. Maybe somebody from the older generation here would know, but I found some clues when I tried to answer that question. The registrar's office at Yale lists him as admitted to the class of 1946, but not completing his degree. The School of Art and Architecture there awards a fellowship in his name. I'm guessing he never even made it to New Haven, where he might have hoped to become an artist or a designer. It wouldn't be hard to imagine what his loss felt like here in Lincoln. So find a name and make it personal. Someone died to preserve your peace, your freedom, and your prosperity, which we all collectively enjoy together in this town. Second, now that you remember, here comes the hard part. You have to make that price worth the cost. Their deaths were an investment. The return on that investment is up to us. It depends on how we live today and every day. If we are good citizens, if we take part in our democracy, if we care for one another and join the organizations that serve our community, if we protect the freedoms earned for us by others, if we act as conscious stewards of this beautiful country and pass it on unharmed to our children, if we explain to our children how this town and this country came to be the way they are, then even though life is a high price to pay, we can create and sustain a society worth fighting for. So these are my suggestions. First, make it real. Remember the sacrifice that was made on your behalf. And second, live a life that honors that sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Gertz. The challenge remains here for all of us to make this a country worthy of our vets' sacrifices. Our town has been blessed with gifted leaders, 2 of whom will retire this year. Police Chief Kevin Mooney has served since 1984 and has kept us safe by running a tight ship in the LPD, but has maintained his exceptional availability to all of us who solicited his help. He'll pass the baton to Lieutenant Kevin Kennedy on July 1. Ladies and gentlemen, please salute Chief Mooney. Reverend Roger Payne has become an institution in our town. My daughters attest that the town will never be the same for them without him. Serving First Parish as well as innumerable causes over the years, Roger and his wife Kay will be moving to their favorite hiking grounds in Colorado this summer. Ladies and gentlemen, please salute Reverend Roger Payne. We have a number of folks to thank for supporting today's ceremony before we get to the music. First and foremost, our veterans. Next, our guest speaker, Captain Dwight Gertz, United States Navy. Thank you, Reverend Payne. Thank you, Out with the Cat. Thank you, ladies, for Tim Schultz. The Town of Lincoln Recreation Department, led by Dan Pereira and the Lincoln Public Works, who once again has managed to place that bodacious flag up there, as well as lend a huge hand to the Boy Scouts with the flags honoring our dead at the Lincoln Cemetery. Lincoln Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts for the setup and operation of our event today. Stonegate Gardens for our flowers and 300 potted flowers on our veterans' graves in Lincoln. Thank you, Stonegate. Our senior housing development, the Commons of Lincoln, for our refreshments. Ms. Evelyn Harris, our pianist. Mr. Liam Spaeth, our sound engineer, the Lincoln Public Library, for providing this lovely location. And finally, the master architect of this event, providing the bulk of both the inspiration and the perspiration, and bringing it all together, Ms. Lynn Spaeth. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce to you a true master of the keyboard who is truly a living legend here in town, playing professionally and teaching her art to our children. Ms. Evelyn Harris, please lead us into song. We'll start with our smallest service, the United States Coast Guard. Always ready. Coast Guardmen of Lincoln, are you out there? If so, please stand for Semper Paratus. Hear, hear, hear. From Aztec shore to Arctic zone to Europe and Far East, the flag is carried by our ships in time of war and peace. And never have we struck it yet, in spite of foeman's might, who cheered our crews and cheered again for showing how to fight. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee. Through surf and storm and howling gale, I shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame, our glory too. To fight, to save, or fight to die, like Coast Guard we are for you. Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a soliloquy. You have the lyrics. This is part of your beginning of honoring the veterans, singing their songs. Men and women of blue, members of the United States Air Force, rise to raise your voice to your service. I'll sing the interlude between the verses. Join in if you know it. Air Force, arise. Soldiers of the United States Army, on your feet. I'll lead you into your song. Join me if you know it. March along, sing our song with the army of the free. Count the brave. and proudly proclaim, first to fight for the right and to build the nation's fight, and the army goes rolling along.
Countermarch right about, where those wagon soldiers shout.
And the army goes rolling along. Then it's
Hi,
the army's on its way.
shout out your numbers loud and strong. Where we go, we will always know army marching along.
Valley Forge, Custer's ranks, San Juan Hill and Patton's tanks, and the army goes marching along. Million men from the start, always fighting from the heart, and the army keeps marching along. Then it's hi, the army's on its way.
Shout out your numbers loud and strong. There we go, we will always know army goes rolling along.
And the army goes rolling along. Well done, soldiers. Jarheads, leathernecks.
Hoorah!
Who wear the coveted eagle, globe, and anchor of the United States Marine Corps. Ten, hoot!
Hey!
From the
halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and liberty, and to keep our honor clear.
We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Here's health to you and to our corps, which we are proud to serve. In various strife we fought and never lost our nerve. If the army ever look on our seas, they will find the streets are guarded by United States Marines.
Hoorah!
Okay, Jarheads, I guess that's a pretty good song. Fellow squid of the United States Navy, all hands on deck, arise and weigh anchor.
Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college joys, we sail at break of day. To our last night on shore,
To the fall, until we meet again.
here's wishing you a happy voyage home.
Yo-ho, there's shipmate at the fighting to the far-off seas. Yo-ho, there, messmate in the wailing of the wild banshee. All hands, fire branch, let us pass them as we go. So, stand, baby, out to sea. Fight, our battle cry. We'll never change our course, so vicious foes steer shy. Anchors away, sail on to victory, and set the ropes in danger fray. Hey! Please, folks, please join me now in America the Beautiful.
Beautiful for a space, amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties,
written by Irving Berlin in 1938, just prior to World War II. I'll sing the intro. Please join me in the chorus or the intro if you know it. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in this solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, Ladies and gentlemen, please join us for refreshments and convivial conversation. This concludes our program. Happy Memorial Day, everyone.
Happy Memorial Day.